Hi guys, welcome back to Debbie's Dolls. I'm here with Miriam Natasha, who hasn't been in a video since I think her box opening and details video. Every time I hit record there's a big bang downstairs. I don't know what that's about. It worries me, but it's meant I've stopped the video a few times. Anyway, yes, I'm here with her because she hasn't been in a video for a while and she is beautiful, and sorry about the lighting. It is 6 o'clock in the evening and I've been shopping all day, so I didn't get one done earlier. So we're here in my bedroom with the light as bright as it will go, and it just doesn't do her credit because she is a beautiful girl. She is the Kimberly sculpt and she is in her Christmas outfit. Let's take a look at this. It is from Asda George last year, and it is a red velour Santa Claus dress, and it has white trim around the bottom and white trim around the sleeves, the cuffs of the sleeves, and a Peter Pan white collar with some pretendy black buttons on it and a nice black bow around the waist. And on the lapel it says Mummy's Christmas Cutie. And oh yeah, tights. It came with tights, red and white stripy tights, and shoes, black shoes. Well, not real black shoes, you know, the kind that look like shoes but they're part of the tights. And this hat did not come with this set. This hat came from Elizabeth and Vanessa in Sweden, but it just goes. Look at it. I mean, that's perfect. You would think it came with it. So that's all been put together in a nice little Christmassy outfit. Wow, she looks good from that angle. I'm just going to sit twisting my wrist around at that angle so she can see her like that. No, I'm not, because I'm going to get cramp. Right, what am I here to do? I am here to do Holly Church's tag. Go check out her channel. I will link it below. And she wanted to know our earliest memory. I have watched a few people do this tag and they are remembering back to being a baby, which I just think is amazing. And I'm surprised by how many people can remember that far back. My mum can actually remember that. She can remember being in her cot, crib, depending on where you're from. She was very poorly when she was a baby at one point. I think she had like scarlet fever or something along those lines, and the doctor came out, which obviously would, being that sick, and she can actually remember being in the cot and the doctor coming to see her. So I thought she was probably the only one in the world. And then most of you guys can remember that far back too, and I just can't. Don't get me wrong, I have a really good memory. I can remember tiny little details that other people forget. I would be good if I was witnessing a crime. Not that I ever want to witness a crime, I don't. But I would notice things that other people don't notice, and yet I cannot remember the early part of my childhood. And somebody said something along the lines of, it seems to be traumatic events that make these memories stay with us from that young of an age. And that seems to be true, because a lot of the stories coming back seem to be something quite traumatic, like Ginny's story and Kimberly getting her first smack on her bottom, and who else's stories? Cheryl, she fell out of a cart, and you know, there's been a few that were quite traumatic for a little child, and so they seem to remember it from that. But for me, it kind of had the opposite effect, because I can remember very clearly everything back to the age of 6, but nothing before that, really. Or it's like there's a cloud on it, and that's it. It was because of a traumatic event, and that's all I can think of, because 6, most people can remember a little bit before being 6, but I lost my dad to cancer a month before I turned 6 years old. Exactly a month before I turned 6 years old, and everything that just about everything has just gone from that age, from before 6, and yeah, that does actually mean that I can't remember my dad. I can't remember him apart from people have told me stories about him, and I think what they were trying to do is think, oh, she's very young, so we need to keep talking about her dad so she remembers him. But the problem is now, when I think of these memories, I am really quite sure they're not my memories. It's just that I've put pictures together with the stories I've been told, if you know what I mean. I really don't think I remember them at all, because there's no detail, and my memories are very detailed. But yeah, so I was thinking I have to really think about this. So I've put a lot of thought into it. Why it's taken me so long to do the tag. Please excuse me, I'm holding the camera because I forgot to bring my stand upstairs. Gotta be careful. Hope I'm not making you sick or anything. Yeah, so I've given it a lot of thought, and I have actually thought of something. I had to say to my mum, how old would I have been at this point? Because I was determined to think of something that happened before my dad passed away. I wanted to think of something before the age of 6 because I really didn't think I could. And the memory I came up with didn't involve my dad, so I needed to make sure he would still have been alive at the point of this thing that I remember, because that's the only way I would know I was before 6. So I asked my mum, and she said, "Oh yeah, definitely you were young at that point." So the memory was, we used to go stay with an uncle and aunt of mine. It was my dad's youngest brother. He was a gamekeeper, which is not something I'm particularly fond of now, and neither is he actually. He stopped doing that and he became very much into conservation and so on. But at the time he used to keep the grouse and everything, protect them for the shooting season for this lord of the manor, some place or other. I don't remember that much detail. And he lived on the estate in this lovely big house, which I don't really remember the house, but I've seen the photographs of it. And I can remember little tiny bits of details about the inside of this house. But the memory I have, there's two that happened while I was there, and I don't know which one came first, so I don't know which one of these is the earliest memory. So I'll tell you them both because they both involve being there. And one of them was my cousin, which was my dad's brother's son. He, for Christmas, it must have been for Christmas, my mum tells me it was for Christmas, but I remember him having a little remote control car. Now, this was back in the early 80s, so it would have been the early days of little remote control cars. And I can remember standing in the kitchen, and he was sitting up on the counters with the remote control in his hand, and he was driving the car around the kitchen and smashing it into the cupboards, and it had the lights and the sound of a police car, and I was standing in the doorway looking at this car being driven around, and I just kept saying to him, "Can I have a go?" And he was, "No," because he's about 3-4 years older than me, and he was, "No, you're not having, please, can I'll be really careful." "No," and he would not let me play on it. And that I can remember that. I can remember the kitchen, I can remember the terracotta coloured tiles on the floor and the dark wood counters, and I can remember him sitting on the top of the counter in front of the window. That I can remember. And then the other memory from being at the same place was when we used to stay there, Mum tells me, we used to go and visit friends of theirs that lived in a neighbouring farm. The dad was a farmer, and he had a couple of kids that my two cousins used to go and play with. So sometimes we used to go over there and visit them. And one time we were over there, the dad was out in the fields, farming the fields and taking in the wheat or corn or whatever it was they were gathering that particular summer. And I remember very clearly being with my cousins and this man, this farmer, and his kids in the cabin of the combine harvester. And I don't know if it's called combine harvester everywhere, so I'll try and find a photograph of a combine harvester that looks like the one I remember. But I remember being in this cabin with these people in this combine harvester, and it was just big and noisy and a bit scary. And then I remember one of my cousins going, "Oh look, there's a ladybug." And it was the first time I saw a ladybird. Now I'm very scared, or was scared, of insects. I'm still terrified of spiders. But my cousins had it on their hand, and they were passing it to each other, and they were really excited about this ladybird. And I think that's why I've never been afraid of ladybirds, because I just saw that they were completely excited by this ladybird and very calm. And that was my first experience of a ladybird, was when I was stood inside a combine harvester. Now my mum says at the point when my cousin got that little toy car, I must have been about 3 years old. And once my dad got quite ill, we definitely didn't go up there again. So I must have been between the age of 3 and just turned 5 at that point. So I actually did remember something. And I'm so pleased you did this tag, Holly, because it meant that I was able to really think about it and try and find something, because I really didn't think I could remember anything that early. But they are the only memories I have of being younger than 6 years old. So there you go. But yeah, I remember my first ladybird. So that's it. That's the tag. And I am going to link Holly below in the description. And this little girl's going to say goodbye. You're going to say goodbye? Oh, she looks so grainy in this light, but she's a beautiful girl. There she is. And she's playing with a silly girl. Yep, I'm going to let you go, and I will be back before Christmas because I want to do a Christmas video with all of the babies together in their Christmas outfits. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So I'll see you for that. Take care, guys. And yeah, bye-bye.